Mike Tirico, NBC Olympics primetime host, Sunday Night Football. He's got the NBA coming up as well on NBC. Live coverage of the opening ceremony, not ceremonies. That'll be tomorrow at noon Eastern on NBC. And watch it primetime at 7:30 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Bonjour, comment vas-tu?
Bonjour, Dan. Yeah, you have done this. You know it is opening ceremony, not ceremonies. It's how you can tell somebody's been a part of the varsity team.
Okay. Now, is the Eiffel Tower actually behind you?
Hang on, let me take it off my desk. Wait, damn it! It's real. That's the real thing. In honor of one of our favorites, Brett Musburger. You are looking
I
live
like
at the Eiffel
that.
Tower,
I like
where
that.
the Eagles are a 7-point road dog. No, it's the real deal. Yeah.
The Olympics already started, which is kind of strange to have,
Right.
some matches here before the opening ceremony. And we've got controversy, Mike, with what happened in soccer yesterday.
Something always happens. Buses, first event, something doesn't go right. It's like, what's going on with the Olympics? It's like there are going to be 1,000 of those little things along the way. The soccer way that played out was bizarre. Everybody's back in the locker room, come back out, play the last 3 minutes of stoppage time. So it always happens. That's just part of 339 different events over time. I'm sure there will be bigger controversies that we talk about over the next 2.5 weeks for sure.
Because you can try to prepare. And, as we found out, you kind of prepare what you think can happen. Team USA does well in these events. This could be somebody who surprises. But, you're not going to have, Kazakhstan's starting lineup for handball, memorized. But explain to the audience, though, how you prepare to host the Olympics.
Well, you did this for so many years, and you know that the backbone of the Olympics and the success of the Olympics is the Olympic research team. And they have incredible information on every sport. You're right, 10,000 plus athletes. There's no way we're going to know most of them. But you want to become familiar with the big ones, familiar with what the big storylines will be. And then I found, this is my fifth now and the fourth due in prime time, the best way to do it is know where to access the information at each time. I'm not going to be ready for an event 15 days from now. I have an idea of what's coming down the road, but on a every couple of day basis, you kind of bite it off in chunks and you get involved in what's going on at the moment. So for now, it's the opening ceremony. When that gets done, already turned our attention to Saturday and what's going to be happening during the daytime and in prime time, and just kind of keep that cycle going. It's a lot like Groundhog Day. It's the same deal over and over for 2.5 weeks. You get up at the same time, you work out at the same time, you eat the same thing at the same time, but it's fun. You feel like everybody's in the marathon with you, and that's the cool part of it for, I think, all of us.
And like 4 years ago, you don't prepare for Simone Biles, deciding she's not going to compete or she can't compete. You're waiting for the coronation of Simone Biles. And I think that, like Katie Ledecky, you're expecting,
Right.
Her to be decorated, honored. Noah Lyles, like you just don't know.
Right. And you have to be ready for well, if not them, then who? There's going to be a great race on Saturday in the women's 400 with Katie Ledecky, Summer McIntosh, who's a star from Canada, who's a swimmer that'll probably win multiple medals at these games, and Ariane Titmus from Australia. And there's a big Australia-USA swimming rivalry that jumps right in the pool on that first night. So you're prepared for that, knowing that the story is Katie and she could make history, 400, 800, 1,500 relays, wherever she's involved because of her medal count. But I think we learned that and saw that firsthand with Simone Biles that you pointed out last year. You never know when an athlete, big name, big stage, big moment, and it doesn't happen for them. So one, it's why, and two, it's who else, because Suni Lee had her Olympic moment. She won the all-around for the women and is an Olympic champion for life. That was what happened when Simone didn't win. And now Suni Lee's back, so she's going for a second consecutive Olympic gold medal. So hey, that's why we do this, right? We love that we don't know at the end the couple's going to live happily ever after, or they're going to catch the bad guy. We don't know. And to have that in a bunch of sports that we don't see on a day-to-day basis and talk about, like swimming and track and field and gymnastics, brings the country together because it's all done under the umbrella of Team USA.
Talking to Mike Tirico, he's joining us live from Paris, and that is the Eiffel Tower over his shoulder. Would you get in the Seine River?
No, but I wouldn't get in many rivers. That's not my strength. I I think the Seine story is an interesting one, and the mayor has jumped in, and it's part of a
The
7-8 year
mayor
plan.
literally jumped in.
She did.
Okay.
And Hidalgo, the mayor, went in last week. We've seen her this week on TV, so we know she survived it. Well, look, it's you kind of chuckle at it, and we all have along the way here, but it's a real concern for the athletes. And competing over the years, you don't want your mind to be clouded with something could go wrong if I do this. You need to be clear-minded and focused. And I think the concerns of the events, the 5 that they try to do in the Seine, the 3 triathlons, the swim portion of those, men's, women's, and there's a mixed team triathlon, men and women, and then the 2 open water swims, those athletes, they're going to have a tough mental battle if this happens. As of now, it's supposed to happen. What has happened in a positive for them is not too much rain, because the rain makes the water in the Seine more polluted. So as of now, they're going in that direction. There is a plan B. And I think we'll know over the next couple of days what's going to play out.
The most confusing sport is what to you?
Some of the judge sports, I've watched breaking. Breakdancing is now in the Olympics, and I've watched it. But just because we're not familiar with it, I think it's going to be a little confusing in how they score it. There's one that I've never really been able to get my arms fully around rugby. I was just watching the U.S. They're playing a live match right now. Why they played 2 yesterday. I've never been able to get my arms fully around point totals, scoring, when the scrum starts and stops, all of that. There's one sport that we don't see enough of that I love, that I really think the U.S. should be better at, and we don't have a team in the Olympics. That's team handball. Have you ever watched team handball?
I loved it.
Don't you think, and you love your college hoops, we could get 5 really good college hoop players who didn't get to the NBA, and they can work together and travel in Europe, and we could come up with a great team handball team in America. I feel like guys pivot a couple of steps and throw it.
Yeah.
I think we could be good.
We get some 3-and-D guys, on the perimeter,
Totally.
some length there.
Shoot from the outside, take contact and finish. Good end one guy. So why don't you take over the team handball leadership for our country before LA 28? Become the general manager. Let's go.
Okay, I have a couple of things that I have to work on. One is getting Brent Musburger into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I got to start there.
That's right there with you.
Okay.
10,000% behind you on that. That's inexcusable.
Yeah, so that's the Pete Rozelle Award. By the way, what's the vibe around U.S. men's basketball?
That the rest of the world is good, and we know that, and they know that because they play against a lot of these guys all the time, whether it's Wemby or Gobert, Jokic, SGA. They know the guys who are on these other teams are good, and the depth of those teams used to be, Dan, there's 1 or 2 NBA guys on a team you'd recognize. Now you recognize the depth of the roster, and because it's FIBA, it's 5 fouls, officiated a little bit differently. The game has some nuances that some of the players who grew up playing it might be better at it than the NBA guys. So I think while you have a little bit of wouldn't this be great for LeBron and KD and Steph playing in his first Olympics all together to win a gold medal for Team USA? I think they know it's not a guarantee. And if they didn't, the game against South Sudan last week in London was a quick reminder, hey, we better bring it here from the start or else.
Congrats on NBC and Peacock getting the NBA. If you haven't heard, if the news hadn't gotten over to you there in Paris, so I guess, are you doing play-by-play for the NBA for NBC coming up in a couple of seasons?
I read that I am, so that was news to me over here, which is good. I'm sure I'll be involved. I hope to be involved doing games. I love doing them with the great Hubie Brown for 10 years at ESPN. I did games for 14 years while I was there when we had the package. I love the NBA and love what it was about. So certainly look forward to figuring out my schedule, how it works out, what they want me to do. But I think for all of us heading into an Olympics year, which is, as you know, because you've been a part of this, every 4 years, every part of the company comes together and enjoys this stage of showcasing the best and the brightest in the world in sports. For all of us to get that news over here as we're getting ready for that, it's a pretty good boost. There are a lot of smiles around here as we endeavor for the next 17 days to bring the Olympics back to everybody in the States.
You don't have to do every job, Mike.
I don't want to. I want to get better at golf. My short game stinks right now. I am so annoyed. I want more time and more golf. So we'll figure it out along the way, but it'll be cool to get back to hoops as well.
Great to talk to you. We'll be watching. We'll check in with you and have fun.
I will. Thanks, pal. All the best. See you soon.
Can you give me some French? I mean,
au revoir.
Wow.
Tourifel.
You are fluent, Mike. You are fluent.
I am.
If I was hosting,
country. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, go ahead. Keep going.
If I was hosting, then I would probably, be. I took 4 years in high school, so obviously I'm fluent.
Were you a good student?
No.
You were not.
No.
You're a jock.
But I didn't want to be a good student. It was a choice that I made, Mike. I didn't want to be a good student. I aspired to be class clown, and that's exactly what I won my senior year.
But you were a good writer. I remember the fun thing, we'll get out of here. The fun thing of our Sports Center days was that we all wrote our own stuff. And it was great because you get challenged from Oberman to you, to Bob Lee, to Charlie, to everybody. Like, okay, he wrote the hell out of that. I'm gonna write a heck of a lead here, and we would work hard on that. It was the absolute best, and you were I remember just listening to your stuff. Like, Dan's a good writer. He just gets it. So anyway,
thank you.
You're a good writer. Put it that way.
You're
welcome.
Thank you, Mike. It's Mike Tirico. He's going to be hosting. He's Mr. Olympics. He's Mr. Prime Time. Opening ceremony, not ceremonies.